Hey boys and girls, Lucky here and welcome back to another CSGO video. Today with another Noob to Pro episode talking a little bit about armor. So I'd say, let's get right into it. So most of you probably know already what armor is, but in order to, well, ease into the video, I'll just go over the basics really quickly. So you can access it from the buy menu right here at gear. There are two types, there's the Kevlar Vest and there's Kevlar and Helmet. Kevlar Vest is 650 and Kevlar and Helmet is essentially just a Kevlar Vest as well as a helmet in order to protect also your head. So let's say you're purchasing, as you can see right here, I got no armor at all, then you purchase the normal Kevlar Vest like this. That costs 650. Now you see there's no little helmet icon. This indicates that you're only having a Kevlar vest. Now if you're being body shotted, like for example right here, you won't get aim punch and you also get reduced damage from the weapon. So each damage of a weapon will be kind of to a certain percentage reduced. So I'll have a little graph probably on screen right now so you can check it out as well. Of course, stuff like the AKM4, AWP, especially SG. SG is completely ignoring armor at all. However, weapons like for example right here, the Glock, or also the SMGs, they do not really have the best armor penetration. Well, the P90 is kind of okay, so that's another thing why it's sometimes a little annoying. Anyhow, back to the armor. So, what you can also do now, if you played around, you bought your normal, like for example, played the pistol round, you just fired and killed a couple of guys, and no one actually did hit you, so you still got 100% armor, as you can see right here. Then you can go to the buy menu and purchase like a helmet for only 350, which is very, very nice, because you can just do it like this, and you're saving a lot of money. Now, of course, it also protects you from nade damage. Nades are doing a lot less damage to you when you're wearing armor, otherwise they would deal a lot more damage. Now, you can see we lost a little bit of armor, so we can rebuy the armor right here with normal Kevlar vest. You never have to rebuy the helmet, because if you rebuy the Kevlar vest right here, the helmet is also kind of included in that, so that's also nice to know. And these are just kind of like the basics that you have to know when it comes to armor. So now let's move on. Okay, so now we know we're actually getting less damage when wearing armor. There's also no aim punch, so that's quite nice to know. We also know when we can rebuy certain parts in order to not pay extra. Now, especially in the last video, a couple of you guys were a little bit confused on where armor is actually being applied. So it's very obvious, normal Kevlar vest, like this one right here, is actually displayed on the model of the player. A helmet you cannot see. Well, for example, you can see the helmet right here, but the helmet is actually protecting the whole head. So even right here for the T-side player, even though you cannot see one. So if we shoot him up close right here with an M4, who has not the same or as good armor penetration as the AK, and we shoot, he of course survives, and this is like the main factor between the M4 right here and the AK. The AK can kill in one headshot despite having a helmet on the enemy opponent. Now, the other important thing to know is right here, you can see the vest. So if we shoot him, or better said, let's use this guy right here, we do 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 shots in order to kill him. Now, if you actually aim at a part where there's no vest, so this is essentially below this line right here, so it's kind of right where the belt is, it's like 1, 2, 3, and 4 in order to kill him. So the Kevlar vest is actually only protecting the upper body, however this also goes for the arms, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're also protected, even though you cannot see it. So essentially when you're wearing a Kevlar vest, everything like from the upper body is being protected, including the hands. If you're also wearing a helmet, your head will also be protected. Now, if you get both of them, Kevlar vest and helmet, anything below the Kevlar vest line, however, so the legs and kind of like the lower stomach area, will not be protected. This means if you are actually shooting at them, you're gonna deal more damage instead of shooting right at the torso. Now, some of you might know, like, okay, why does this make any sense at all? I mean, it's kind of realistic in a way, and from a balance point of view, since in CS you're always going for the headshot, since it has such a huge headshot multiplier, you never really notice all that much that you're actually going to spray the legs and can deal more damage. So that's why in some scenarios, when you're up close and you're just spraying at someone who's kind of jumping over you and you're only hitting his legs, you're actually going to drop him faster than if you would be while shooting at his body like this. So this was a headshot and a body shot right here. That's why he dropped so fast. Now let's move on to our last question. That is, should counter-terrorists buy a Kevlar vest with a helmet? So the problems that CTs often do face is that if they're competing against an AK or an SG, those guns do deal a lot of damage and have good armor penetration, meaning they will kill you with one headshot. Like if we will fly over to this guy right here, if we body shot him like this, they will kill you with one headshot despite wearing a helmet. So most of the time it's going to be somewhat of a, well, I don't know if I want to spend the extra $350. For that you can get some other stuff. You could get, for example, a flashbang, you could get a smoke grenade, you could get a high explosive grenade, and also do not forget, as a CT, you also have to buy a defuse kit, which is a little bit more expensive than $350, but it's fairly close. So often you might see CTs actually purchasing just a normal Kevlar vest, which does make sense to a bigger certain degree. However, the problem kind of comes into play when you're going up against weird buys. So as long as you're playing kind of the meta game, you know you're going up against full armored opponents and they're having AKs and rifles and, well, very hard-hitting weapons, and not, for example, something like the Glock right here, you should not really be afraid. However, if you're not wearing a helmet and they're just doing like a Glock rush and they're up close, then the Glock can kill you with one headshot. So it's a little bit about anticipation again. You kind of want to know the economy of the enemies. If you know they're not able to buy it all and they're most likely going to force, and you want to reduce the just very like minimal risk, even though it's very minimal, just go for the extra, well, helmet. However, of course, preferably you do not want to lose any points from a Kevlar vest so that you can get it for 350 only, which again is most likely not going to happen. Also, the other question, when should you rebuy the armor? As a rule of thumb, usually if you're below 50, you can rebuy it. That's pretty much however when all of the enemies are going to hit you in a, well, in a way that makes sense, so not in a setup way. So yeah, these were kind of the things that people did ask me the last couple of days after the video about the armor. I hope I was able to answer those questions for you guys, and I think that's pretty much all for now. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and luckySkillFaker out.